Syllabus Part 1. This is mostly going to be looking at the assignments in this class. So, random important information. The office hours for this class is, you can see Tuesday through Thursday. I am on from 9 a.m. to noon. What that basically means is I am sitting in front of my computer during this time. So if you send me an email during that time, you're going to get a really fast response and everything there. Also, this is a time period that if you ended up wanting to set up like a video conference or something like that, we could do that during these times. Fridays, I'll also be on from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock a.m. If you're needing a different time, I am available at other times just per like appointment and everything. Email, super important. My email is samantha.elkins@my.tccd.edu. Technically you can email me without the my, but the tccd.edu one, that one is really for my students only, and so it's one of those things I'm constantly looking for student emails there, so that's a great place to go. Book, I say any version because of this text, which is America Narrative History 11th edition, volume 1 is all that you need for this class. However, if you're planning on taking History 1302, especially with me, you might want to get the combined edition just so that you have it all. I say any version because some students like to, download it to a Kindle kind of thing. Others want like the actual hard copy. That is really up to you. I never ask you to like open your book and read along during a lesson or anything. Materials, obviously you need a computer as well as some sort of word processing program, mostly for the submission of papers and parts of your quizzes. So assignments and grades, you can see here that you have 3 papers that are worth 25% of your entire grade. The lowest paper is going to be dropped. So that means that the 2 papers that are counted will each make up 12.5% of your final grade. You're going to have weekly quizzes. These are worth 15% of your grade, and also the lowest quiz grade is dropped. We have about 6 quizzes so that there's 5, so each one is worth about 3% of your grade. Then you're going to have 4 exams. Your 4 exams make up 50% of your grade. That means that each exam is worth 12.5% of your grade. Please don't miss an exam. Cannot emphasize that enough. And participation, this is going to be any journals and discussion board. There's a lot of these, and notice they are only worth 10% of your grade. This is a way for you kind of to keep on top of things and make sure that you're participating in the class and not just disappearing for long periods of time and everything. Grade breakdown, you can see I'm really exact here, so things like getting a B is an 89.99. Now if you're that close to an A, please contact me. Because obviously I don't want anyone sitting that close, but I make it very clear in the syllabus that that is where the A, B, C, D, F all lie. Just a quick note, for TCC, a passing grade is considered a D. So make sure if you're emailing me about like, oh, I just want to get a passing grade, because that is for some students what they want, I'm thinking you mean a D, but if you mean a C, make sure you say I am trying to get a C in this class at least. So make sure you're just being aware of that. You're going to have 3 papers in this class. They are about 600 to 750 words. There is points deducted if you're under the word count. If you go over the word count, I don't take off points specifically for going over. However, a lot of times when a student goes over, like I'll get students that will submit a paper that's like 12,000 words. Most of the time, unfortunately, when that happens, they're getting really off topic from the prompt question. So just know that if you go over, that's more chances for you to make more mistakes. Most of the time, those mistakes are things like grammatical errors or spelling errors, things like that. But just be aware, if you're going really over by a lot, you might have gotten off focus. Papers are going to be due online. They are due on Blackboard Turn It In, and you'll see in a second where that is. However, if for some reason something weird is going on with Blackboard Turn It In, because sometimes that happens, is, the internet and everything, email me your paper. If you email me your paper before it's due, and then you submit it the next day, and technically the submission on Blackboard Turn-In was late, as long as it's the same thing that you submitted and what you emailed me, then I won't count it late. So just make note of that. If you're realizing it's taking forever to upload to Blackboard Turn-It-In and it's 11:30 at night, email me your paper and then finish the submission on Blackboard Turn-It-In. For every 24 hours late, it is a drop in letter grade. So it'll be due at like 11:59 at night, and if you turn it in at 12:16, it's late, and that's minus 10 points. It's out of 100 points, so basically every day late is minus 10 points. If you are over 10 days late in your submission, I no longer have to grade it as per the syllabus. That being said, I drop a paper, so like feel free if you end up, let's say paper 1, just something comes up in your life and you submit it 3 days late, and you know that's minus 30 points, and you know you're going to do paper 2 and paper 3 and you want those really to count, please go ahead and still submit paper 1, because I'll grade it and I'll give you feedback which will help you on paper 2 and paper 3. Please use your rubric. I post that on Blackboard so that you can really look at exactly how the grade breakdown works. One of your papers is dropped, just giving you a heads up. When I drop that, I'll let you guys all know in an announcement, but Blackboard itself unfortunately does not tell you which of your papers is being dropped, so just keep that in mind. It will be the lowest though. Tentative due dates are in your syllabus. However, in your discussion board, you will be discussing when you want your 3 papers to be due, and I will finalize those dates in an announcement to everyone. This is just so that you can kind of see what it'll look like where you're submitting your paper. This won't be the exact same, as this is for actually a different previous class that I've done, but you can see like the paper grading rubric circled in red, how there's a PDF there, so you'd have to open it. Unfortunately, I can't just make it visible in Blackboard because it's a whole chart and everything. Then the paper 1 itself, and you can see circled in blue, view/complete, that is where you submit your paper. So view/complete, you'll click on that. It will basically prompt you to upload a paper, and so you can upload it or download it depending on like if you're doing it from Google Docs and so on and so forth. And then the third thing circled in yellow is the actual paper itself. And so it's the prompt, and so you can see that there's a PDF there that you can open separately. I would definitely recommend printing it out, marking up the sources, because I basically give you a bunch of primary sources in the paper to use to answer the prompt. And so a lot of times people want to print it out, but if not, if you are able to scroll down further on this page, you would see that I have all of the sources there and everything for students to read. Quizzes. So quizzes are each going to have 2 different sections. The first section is the timed section, and this is 80% of the quiz grade. There are no makeups for the quiz because, like the papers and everything else in this class, every 24 hours late, it's a drop in letter grade. So it's minus 10 points for every day you are late. So don't be late on these. One quiz is going to be dropped. They're predominantly over readings and class lessons. Really, they're more over the lessons, but I always have at least one question in your time section of the quiz that is specifically over readings and what we've been looking at, but from the book. I don't expect you to answer in complete sentences on like the time section. I recognize that I'm timing you on that and everything. But then the other section is labeled here. It's the primary source section, but a lot of times I just refer to it as the non-time section. Basically, I give you a primary source. I ask you a couple questions about the primary source and have you answer them and submit them almost like an assignment, so to speak. And so there's no time limit on that non-time section. It's just due separately, but it's due on the same day as the time section of the quiz. So just know each quiz has 2 parts. One is timed, one is not timed. That non-timed part, the reason I don't have it included in the time section is some students want to read it a lot slower and everything like that. And especially as we're looking at primary sources that are old, a lot of times they're going to use slightly different language than we might use today predominantly. So I didn't want it to be too much pressure basically for that non-time section. So that's why you are going to submit those 2 things separately. It'll look something like this. It won't look exactly like this, but you can kind of have an idea here. So you'll see here, quiz 1 circled in red. That would be the time section. So you would literally click quiz 1, and then it would go in and it literally asks you the questions and you just go through them and answer them. Then circled in blue, that's the actual take-home portion or the non-time portion, however you want to refer to it as. Basically, you can see here I have just a couple of questions. I would also have the primary source here. The first quiz is a little bit different, so just follow the instructions really carefully on that first quiz. And then the non-time portion, you can see on that yellow circle, view/complete, that's where you would submit your document with your answers to those questions. Exams. You have 3 exams and 1 final exam. The final exam is comprehensive. That's why I kind of separate it out. So really all 4 exams count the same. It's just the final is a little bit different because it can cover anything from this class. Same thing with everything else. Every 24 hours late, it's a drop in letter grade. That means minus 10 points for every day late. If you are over 10 days late on submitting an exam, I do not have to grade it as per the syllabus. I do give you a review. It will be posted in Blackboard, and I'll also send out an announcement when that's posted and everything. The other thing is every exam, when they're posted, will have a password to get into them. And the reason I have this password that I will send out in an announcement is so that someone can't accidentally start the exam. You have to do it on purpose. If you're going to start an exam, you have to type in a password and hit go and start. The layout of these exams, you're going to have 15 multiple choice questions. Those are worth 2 points each. You'll have 10 map IDs. Those are worth 1 point each. For the map IDs on your review, I give you 20 map IDs. 10 of them will show up on the test. So if you know all 20, you should be good. Then the short answers, basically I give you about 30 IDs on your review, but then I ask you 15 short answer questions that are over some of those IDs from your review. The thing is, you don't have to answer all 15, you only have to answer 7 of those questions. So you kind of get to pick and choose which questions you feel better about and everything like that, because everyone's going to have their strengths and weaknesses, especially in a history class. But each of those short answer questions is worth 5 points. And so that brings up to 35 points. The last part of your exam is an essay question. So basically on the review, I'm going to give you 3 essay prompts. Then on the test, I give you 2 of those essays, but you have to choose one of those 2 to write. You can see here the breakdown of how many points comes from where, because your essay is worth 25 points. What this means though is when you're looking at those 3 essay prompts, you might want to prepare for 2 of the essays. And have an essay that's like definitely your favorite. And if that essay shows up on the exam, great, write your essay on that. But lo and behold, I'll have students that only prep for 1 essay and then it doesn't show up on the exam. Make sure you're ready for at least 2 of the essays, and you'll probably have a favorite and a second favorite, so to speak. Participation. Are you engaged in class through things like discussion boards and journals? Discussion boards, just know that you have to post 3 times per week. There's a discussion board each week so that you're actually getting to like engage with other students in this class. I would definitely recommend reading in advance of watching the lessons, but it's great to kind of go hand in hand with them. When it comes to things like excused absences and unexcused absences, that shouldn't really be an issue in this class, as this is an online class. But if something happens where you cannot access your computer for like over 24 hours because, let's say, you fall and you have to go to the hospital or something like that, please contact me. Whether it's considered an excused absence or not is a case-by-case basis, but it never hurts to ask if that would be considered excused or not. If you have any problems in this class, please let me know. If you're having internet issues, things like that, contact me ASAP. Don't wait on that. Attendance is going to be taken via submission of work. So for instance, if you submit Monday and Tuesday's work, both on Monday, then you would be counted present for Monday and Tuesday because you submitted something that was due on a specific day is the idea. You can see here, this is basically how the journals look. Like I said, the layout on these aren't going to be the exact same, but you would just click where it says like journal 1, and you would then type in your answers to the questions directly into Blackboard. So it's really nice for that. A lot of times students will write their answers separately while like doing the lessons and then type them in afterwards. Just an idea. We also have some other things, the discussion board, for instance. I always have students get kind of confused on this. So the discussion board, you'll click that top left corner right there, discussion board week 1. So you'll click on that. It will prompt you with like a couple of questions. You might not have 3 questions per week really. But basically when you click on one of those questions, you can hit reply as circled below in blue to the main discussion board, but also please scroll through, read other people's answers, and reply to what they say. So you have to have 3 replies. Please be like extensive in your replies. Don't just say, I agree with this. Like say why you agree with it and explain your reasoning and everything. Extra credit, always a question students have. So there's a whole tab to the left that is on extra credit. Please just follow the instructions there if you're deciding to do extra credit. I wouldn't wait to do this until the end of the semester. I would do it sooner than that. The first one that you complete, if it is approved, is +5 on an exam, which is a big deal. The second and the third are each worth +20 on quizzes. What kind of events can you go to? I'll be posting about those throughout the semester because I'm sure we have some with TCC that are going to be like online events and everything like that. But I've also defined for you what are some other events that you could attend, for instance, as well.